All right, let's explore a few more options to set up the interface specifically for perhaps doing some sketches and drawings that might turn into something like scribing, video scribing, segments or short animations. And I think one thing that's particularly useful is to maximize the screen real estate. The more you have space for your drawings, the more you can really focus on that and not have things get in your way. So one thing, for instance, you might want to do is to go when you're in this mode here, right? This is kind of a starting point, although you might have the sidebar on the left. Let's see a couple of things. First of all, let's this bar at the top. It's very good and informational. You have indication of whether you zoomed in, how much. 100% is a good place to be. But when you zoom in or when you zoom out, you'll see that number change. You see whether you're in the main image or in the swap image, right? As you switch here, for instance, click on that, and that will switch to the swap image. Now, right now, it's the same image, but you could say, okay, here is a drawing, and then switch to the other one, and here's another one. So you have a main image and a swap image. You can switch between the two. You can also see them both at the same time. Just clicking here puts them in sort of a blending mode, and right-clicking on that lets you choose different blending modes. What I want to do though is minimize the number of pixels that are used, especially if you're on a laptop with a small screen. Because I'm blessed here with an 18-inch laptop. I have a laptop with 18-inch screen, so it's a fairly high resolution also. I think 1400 by 900 or so. It could go higher resolution though, right? Sometimes you'd like to have even more space available. And if you look at the current window image here, image info, you can see that my image buffer is 1280 by 720. If ultimately you want to keep at 1280 by 720, it's always good to have a little bit of border or margin around it. So one thing I would do is actually resize this image to slightly higher, or just start from scratch. But let's say you wanted to actually start from this one, make it a little bit bigger, do a resample, or even just add some borders around it with image size. Right, so with that, you could say, for instance, you wanted 1320. Give it about 20 sideways each more, and then same thing here, 760 or maybe even 800. Let's go 800 vertically. So essentially, you give yourself a little bit more space. Now, at that point, you may have reached the top and the bottom limits here, and it would be good to see if you are able to gain back additional. Get rid of some of the waste here. It's not really waste, but it's information that maybe we don't need to display all the time. So one thing, let's start doing this, is to go into compact full screen mode. Then we already have a little bit more room available, and now we can see the entire image buffer in this case. So that's already a first thing. Then there is the sidebar, which once we are set up with our brushes we want to use and the colors we have chosen, if you stay in the monocolor mode or with just 2 or 3 brushes, you may not need this sidebar anymore. So there's 2 ways you can get rid of it. One of them is you have this little button here that will sort of minimize it. Click on that, and the button is still there. You see this little black dot here on the right edge. So you can bring it back. But if you want to even save that, you can actually disable that as well. You can go to Window, Layout, and you have something here somewhere. Show sidebar. Now notice what happens to that dot in the right side. Boom, it's gone. So the sidebar is now hidden altogether. Right. So that's one thing. And then we have this one here, the toolbar, which is currently still docked on the left side. That one too we could do something about. For one, we could make it float the toolbar right here, float toolbar. So now we can decide where we want it, and for instance, one thing we could do is use the hand here to move the image a little bit to the left, and then we have plenty of room for the toolbar here on the right, and also for additional stored images, such as if we go here and store the image, store a copy of that image, we can keep it over here on the right side, right? And if we switch to this and we store that one, there you go, boom, and we can see the information that used to be in the top window bar is window border is now showing here. So Howler, we're on the main image, and switch that, we're now on the swap image. So we can switch between the two, but we can of course also use those stored images, and that's really why we use those, is to have a quick access to some stages in our animation or in our drawing that we want to be able to show. There are a couple of other reasons. One of them is that it can simply serve as a guide to remind us as we're going through the drawings, right? As we're drawing something here, maybe a hat needs to be added, a little cowboy hat, and we want to remind ourselves of sort of the things that are important in our storytelling as we're drawing this. So you could see doing something like this and practicing the narration, practicing the storytelling as you're drawing it, right? And then once you have it, you could say, okay, let's draw this, let's erase, and then draw that. In fact, you may want to have a clear image too. So let's go and let's say go right over here, clear that, and store that as well. So you can really start easily from a stored copy simply by erasing, right? You click this, erase, click this, erase. It's not really erasing, it's just replacing the image with another one. So that's one thing we can do you can see how we've minimized. And now we can also change the layout, the interface style, and maybe you'll find some other things easier to work with, like the flat look. The toolbar can have this has a flat look right now, but if you undo that, you'll get a little bit of a more of a outline visible, or perhaps a little bit of a 3D look. It depends also on which of these colors you use. Let's see, toolbar. Let's give it some more options. Kind of like a dark cool or dark, light on dark. Let's do that. So you see there's a lot of different ways to give it the style that you want, and it seems like we need to refresh these. So alright, so that's basically it, and I wanted to set that up to kind of give you some ideas on how to work the interface to the way you like it, right?